Hello, bronies, and welcome back to All Around Equestria. This is episode 2. Like I said in my first episode, I'll be having a certain amount of stuff that I'll be doing. And actually, I have a special guest with me today, Dylan Listner.
Nice to be here, Brad.
Oh, that's awesome. First off, I want to start with our first segment called The Showstopper, which will just be talking about the show itself, My Little Pony, the show itself. Here is your Season 4 time update. We have, as of the time this video is posted, 43 days until My Little Pony Season 4. How do you feel about that, Dylan?
Well, I can safely say to everyone that the hiatus is coming to a close, and I think we're all grilling with anticipation.
Oh, what is My Little Pony Friendship is Magic still on hiatus going to do on Tumblr now? That's what I really want to wonder. Good artist behind that, by the way. If you ever want to check that out, I'll probably link it in the description. Okay, what I wanted to share with the up and coming season is I wanted to talk about my expectations for this new season. I really want a lot more character development. I mean, we saw in season 3. I don't know if you noticed this, Dylan, but we saw in season 3 that Twilight Sparkle probably, out of all the characters, had the most character development.
During Season 3?
Yeah.
I did notice that there was character development during Season 3, but I didn't notice I noticed a good amount, but I didn't know like an excessive amount of development. But I'm not the one who goes in depth like all the brony commentators who I've watched out there, and I've learned a lot of in-depth stuff and character development from them. So if I were to look up some videos, I'd probably be seeing something I didn't see the first time.
Well, from what I've seen, it's what I just noticed. There's a lot of development, especially behind Twilight Sparkle, when she turns into a princess and everything. A lot of Cutie Mark Crusader character development as well. Mm-hmm. And of course, Pinkie Pie had her own episode. And what I really want to see more character development behind is Applejack, maybe some Rainbow Dash character dev. A little bit. What do you want?
Yeah. Well, like anyone who was on either side of the spectrum for the Twilight Alicorn deal, I'm kind of hoping with a lot of other people to see more development, because with her becoming a princess, that's going to lead to hopefully some more development on her character as she learns to become royalty, rather than just a mentor of Princess Celestia.
Yes.
But I am expecting, well, like most people, we're expecting some character development from all the others, and especially Applejack, because I told you about this before. I was watching Brony Curious's video, why Applejack doesn't get any love.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like one of those people who are hoping that the Hasbro or DHX give Applejack some room for character development, as a lot of people have been hoping for.
I really hope, because I really dislike Applejack at this point, especially after the whole Super Speedy Satter Squeezy 6000 episode where
I didn't learn a thing at all.
Where she didn't learn anything. I thought that was surprising, because I learned something from that episode, that's for sure. Which was really weird, because speaking of all these freaking lessons, it's good that you can pull those even as a high school student like we are. Okay, I wanted to take a transition from the character development and talk about what I really want to see in the next season. An episode dealing with death. That sounds like a very dark subject if you think about it, but I think that it would be a good lesson to teach children that you can deal with death, and it doesn't have to be this not really awe-inspiring thing. It doesn't have to be something that's really
it hurts, but the lesson is it hurts, but life goes on.
Yes,
kind of like that.
That even after that everything has happened, you can still find like solace in friends.
It's kind of like what the creator of Final Fantasy did for I don't know which game it was, but he wanted to portray a realistic death because his mother passed away during that game's development. So they deal with the death. It's tragic, but eventually the characters go on.
Yes, which is kind of what I want as far as what I want to happen to Granny Smith. I love her to death. She is the coolest old pony that I've ever seen.
She makes a good cafeteria lady.
Oh gosh, if you haven't seen Equestria Girls, you do not get that. I'm sorry, but she's a really good old pony, and even though I don't want her to die, I think it would be a very good lesson to teach young children. And on that very sad note, let's transition to my next segment, which I entitled The Circle. The Circle is going to mainly deal with the brony community as a whole, which today's topic is actually bronies versus the workplace. I noticed on Equestria Daily they had you saw this
Yeah,
post
you
too.
showed me that.
Yes, they had a post that was dealing with a brony who actually got fired from his job for being a fan of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Well, first off, I remember reading on that post that he said he had a desktop background, and was he working in a cubicle? Just to refresh my memory, he was working.
Yes, he was working like a 9-to-5 cubicle job, I believe.
Okay, so I would understand since he's just got a desktop picture and and you're at that computer constantly. I don't think the management would probably care. I bet there were probably other people who put random desktops in, as long as it wasn't Rule 34 or anything. As long as it wasn't that, I don't really see a problem. But there's probably some of this side of the story. We don't really know where the boss was coming from, but what we see, it's kind of makes the boss seem like a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
Considering
well, he even called the boss a couple of rude names in the post itself, which will be linked in the description as well.
Wait, he did or he didn't?
He called him a couple mean names.
Oh yeah, he did. I feel sorry for the guy, and also trying to think. I feel sorry for him, and I'm kind of glad that he took getting fired. You know, he said that he was happy that he got fired from that job, and he didn't remember at the end when.
Yeah, he got.
But it was also where he called his boss a couple things, so I kind of feel sorry for the guy as well, because if I were in that business, I've got a lanyard that I hold around in the Boys and Girls Club here in town, and the only comments I ever got on that is, you like ponies, or is that for your little sister?
Which is weird, because I actually work at a nursing home, and I have my lanyard out most of the time, and I have actually gotten snide comments from some of the other employees there. I haven't gotten fired yet for it, but I've also worn pony shirts when we have dress down days, and I've gotten either really good comments or really weird looks or really bad comments. It all depends. But here's my question though: should places be allowed to fire you for being a brony?
You got to take into account a lot of things. If you're in that kind of setting with a cubicle and you're working at a computer and you just set your desktop, I don't think, as long as it's not Rule 34, as I said, it shouldn't really matter to the boss as long as you're getting work done. I think the bottom line is, it doesn't really matter what kind of fandom you have, as long as you're putting forth your effort to the workforce and you're benefiting the place you work for, and it's not getting in the way and not causing a problem. I don't think it should really matter what fandom you're part of.
Yes, that's similar to my thoughts. How I feel, if I were to get fired from my job, which I wouldn't care at this point because my job's kind of crappy at this stage, especially after last night. That sucked.
You told me about that this morning. Well, you told me you had a less than stellar day yesterday.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind getting fired, but for being a brony, I think that's kind of ridiculous to be fired just because you like a show for children. I mean, I get bullied for it, but that's obvious. That's an obvious thing. But getting fired for it is a completely different spectrum of terrible.
Because you're not doing anything you're not doing what people think of stereotypically of bronies are shoving it in their face. You didn't do any of that, did you?
No, I don't do that.
Yeah, and back to what I said, as long as it's not a problem, it shouldn't be a thing worth firing over.
Exactly. I mean, if you're purposely talking about Rule 34 at work, or you're talking about My Little Pony constantly, every single other word as a reference. Then I could see somebody getting fired for it because they are probably being really annoying about it.
If you do it like every other day and you don't do it and like you just if the situation calls for it, like you feel like doing it once in a while, that's okay because you're spreading yourself out.
I mean, some people make references to Star Trek at work. I've heard references to popular television shows. But if I made a reference to My Little Pony, could I get fired for it? That's the question for you guys too. Should places be allowed to fire you for being a brony? I want to hear your inputs
In the comments below.
In the comments, or tweet it to me at AA Equestria, which will also be in the description. Okay, to transition to my third third segment? Yes, my third segment called the Spotlight. This is where I want to highlight bronies, what the brony community does. Not as far as like bronies getting fired. He obviously did that, but what bronies do artistically. And especially my special guest. I have Dylan Listner. He is an artist, a musician. You want to give us a little bit about that?
Actually, to be quite honest, I started getting into the brony. I got into the fandom around the time I created my first brony-related track, Scratch One Brony. It was a cold winter night. I finally got my curiosity up, and I figured, what's the hay? No pun intended. I figured I'd check it out after playing TF2 on a brony server. And then that same winter, I produced a brony track. And it wasn't long till I think I watched the entirety of second season before I started drawing stuff, actually. And then I just recently produced another track called the Changelings and their Queen at the Gate. Though I originally called it the Changeling Queen, but when I was looking back on it, I didn't think of Chrysalis when I heard this. I was thinking of like her and her army all together going to take over Canterlot. That's what I was seeing after I made it. And it has been part of the fandom. I haven't seen much of the ridicule as some bronies might be, and I'm probably one of the more stereotypical people who've gotten into the fandom. Like, oh, I thought about it that one way before, and I knew someone like you, Brad. You were the one that you were the one who I knew. I found out was a brony, and I was curious, and it's been magic since then.
Friendship is magic, after all.
Yes.
I think that's pretty much, you could say that about anybody, like how they got into the fandom. They found out from a friend, or they found out from online, like you did.
Yeah. And speaking of online, I also got introduced it, and this was a situation of somewhat ridicule because I watched Hot Diggity Demon's Pony.mov video.
Oh, the Pony Mob videos.
Yeah. I think it was around the time, I believe, Party.mov came out.
Oh.
Yeah. It was around that time. I went into lunch that next day, and a friend of mine, Tessa Crawford, had a bunch of little pony figures that hung from her backpack like you have.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me the name, and I asked me the name off the ponies. I named them off like that. And they thought I was a brony, and I kept insisting, no, I don't. I just know it from this fan animation. And you want to know what happened when they found out I was one? After a year of denial. Boy.
Oh, staying in the shed.
Stay out of my shed.
All these bronies who are all closet bronies, they just make me a little upset sometimes because they just can't accept who they are.
Well, in some cases you can't blame them, considering the backlash they are acceptable to. But you can't blame them. But in some cases, that like this episode review we're going to be doing, here's a good transition. You're going to have to learn to face your fears eventually. You're going to have to come out.
Exactly. And if you don't know, our episode review today was actually sent in by I can't remember the person on Twitter, but
we can link him in the video.
Yeah,
we'll
link. We'll actually have I probably have a picture somewhere of his tweet. where he asked us to review Sleepless in Ponyville, which is I think it's a good episode.
Luna's in it, hands down, it's good.
All the Luna fans. Oh, Luna's in it. She'll have an important part in it, which she actually did this time.
Yeah, and instead of being the subject of a fish out of water, but which isn't a bad story. I still like that episode. You want to start off?
Okay, I really liked Sleepless in Ponyville, where throughout the entire episode, you have just the Cutie Mark Crusaders wanting to hang out with their sisters. But of course, Scootaloo, being I think she's an only child at least, she doesn't have a sister. And so she wants Rainbow Dash to kind of be like her sister mentor person. Oh, crap.
which has been built up over episodes because of her admiration for Rainbow Dash, so it's realistic.
Oh, yeah. And I thought it was a really good episode as far as what it was trying to show kids that, you may have nightmares, but you have the princess of the night, if you will, to protect you. That is a good thing. Oh, I have Princess Luna protecting me when I sleep. But the really good part, and I wrote this down, it's the moral of the story. Every pony is scared of something, and the only way to get rid of your fear is to face it head on. That's what I found from the episode. And
another point going along with that, I think, was that taken from what Princess Luna said during the second nightmare?
Yes, to face your fear, Scootaloo.
And she basically says something along the lines, "It may be a dream, but when you wake up, your true fear will still be present." And with that and what you just said, that's a pretty good life lesson, because ultimately there's going to be some fear in your life that you're going to have to overcome, or it's going to rule you for the rest of your life.
Which is funny, because after I rewatched this episode, I had a dream that I was facing this person that I haven't faced for a couple of years. Like, I have tried to avoid them, and I guess I'm still afraid of that confrontation, because I confronted them in my dream, and it didn't end very well. It ended with me in fear, and I'd been waking up and...
Looks like you need a visit from the mayor of the night.
I think I might. With that transition, we are going to go to our art spotlight for today, and I'll bring this up on my phone so Dylan can see our art. Speaking of art, the cover art for this episode is actually done by Dylan, and it probably will be up for another couple of episodes unless I get somebody else to make me some really cool art, or if people want to make fan art, which is completely fine.
So my thing's not cool? Is that what you're saying?
No, that is definitely not what I'm saying. Okay. The art that I'm going to show is by an artist named Lexi-06 on DeviantArt. And if you'll see there, that's a picture of the main 6 that she did. All humans. A lot of her pony art is actually humanized pony art. And she also has a lot of Adventure Time art and other art that goes along with fandoms.
Just another contributor to the many fans that led Hasbro to make Equestria Girls.
Yes.
You saw that interview at a con. They said it was because of the fans that Equestria Girls came out of, because of all that fan art. And I pity to what and how they said that, how all that fan art. I'm pretty sure that they saw some things.
Yeah, I would assume so too. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some pretty sketchy stuff.
But get back on track, that is pretty good. I'm just going to say that right now.
I know. I like some of the styles. Though people I saw in the comments were really upset about the way Applejack looks. I mean, I guess she does kind of look a little sketchy in that, but no pun intended for it being an art. But yeah, I can see how some people would not like that certain drawing. And the way, I know if you notice that Twilight is actually wearing, I think, a corset in this picture.
I see.
I really like that design. And then this is the second picture that I saw, which is a picture of Pinkie Pie humanized in a kind of like a flowery dress. I guess it's trying to show her gala dress, kind of.
I can see that. I think what I'm seeing here is a heart made out of candy, I'm assuming. Or is it flowers?
I'm actually not sure. I do like the heart, though. It looks really nice. The use of green as the background, though.
It's a very heavy contrast. It makes Pinkie pop out.
Exactly. All the yellow and the pink and blue in her dress, as well as herself, just exploding in the center of the picture.
Party cannon.
Party cannon. Party cannon is actually canon.
It's one of the friendship arsenal. Yeah. I found that out going on the internet page for My Little Pony and the fandom, where I learned most of the stuff before I actually said I was a fan.
And actually, our animation that we were doing, I forget the name of the YouTuber that posted this, but the animation is called A Tale of One Shadow.
So epic. Or just begin.
Such a mysterious title. I've watched it at least 3 times because I like it that much. It's a really good animation.
Oh, you go ahead.
The description of the animation, if you want to see it, I'm not going to ruin the ending. But it's King Sombra's backstory, which is funny. If you notice, that king and queen are the titles of the villains, but prince and princesses, except for Prince Blueblood because he's a hole.
Yeah.
But all prince and princesses are all heroes, but yet kings and queens are villains.
Well, I think it stems from the fact that they have supreme power, like king and queen. That entitlement brings great power. They have complete control, which is ironic because Princess Celestia and Princess Luna have complete control of Equestria.
Which is also it's kind of staying in like the monarchical system, but they're also trying to make it more of a democratic system in a way. I mean, they have mayors and they have like Mare is which is her name.
Which raises the question: when she's not mayor, what do we call her?
We call her
Mayor.
Mayor, yeah, exactly.
Hey, Mayor. No, I'm talking to Mayor.
But this animation, to get back to that, it's King Sombra, and it's his little snippet of a backstory created by one of the many brony artists. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was a good representation of the backstory. I never really thought of King Sombra as a really evil villain, in my opinion. He just seemed really stupid.
And with this animation, it makes him seem more like more of the tragic hero turned villain,
more along like protagonist turned antagonist.
Yeah, kind of like Anakin Skywalker in a way.
And it shows how he can control crystals, but also turn into his gaseous form of the little King Sombra cloud, which everybody thought was hilarious.
Yeah, big frowny. To quote a brony commentator, a big black frowny cloud.
It's the storm cloud over Equestria. That's King Sombra. Okay, so I think do you think that's a good place to end that?
Unless there's anything you else want to talk about. I think
keep calm, pony on. I think that's...
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Trust me, I am a doctor.
My brother actually got that T-shirt with Doctor Who's.
I like that. I like the different T-shirts that they have. We Love Fine is a good website, as well as HotTopic.com. And we are not sponsored by either of those producers.
Or FYE for your entertainment. We are not also sponsored by them, which is actually where I got this lanyard.
Speaking of sponsors, we are sponsored by FCTV, the program that is actually making this. This is actually a school program. I'm actually doing this for a class, and I'm getting a grade upon how I do this. Well, not really how I do it, but more along the lines of just doing it.
Just do it to do it.
Yes.
Do the do.
And I guess with that has been All Around Equestria episode 2. Follow me on Twitter at Equestria, and Dylan, you can follow me at
Dylan Listner on Twitter. And you can check out my YouTube page. You want to plug that in as well?
Yeah, I'll plug that in.
You plug in yours first since you're the host.
Go subscribe to All Around Equestria on YouTube. And
you can subscribe to Brand Rich Von Isner on YouTube. And if that name sounds weird, it's just a combination of me and my partner.
And I will also be annotating his YouTube page into this episode. Also, go check out Dylan's art on Tumblr.com. It's listart listart.tumblr.com is his URL.
Yep. and you could check out Brad's.
No, I don't have a Tumblr for this account
you
yet.
don't? Oh, you don't?
No, not yet.
Well, I figured I'd just plug you to your regular Tumblr. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my Tumblr is kind of boring right now. It's just been reblogs, which is no fun at all. Well, with that, if you have any questions that you want to ask me, or you want to tweet Dylan to ask him any questions, but tweet me, #AAEQA, for questions that will actually be featured on All Around Equestria. And if you want to do an episode review, tweet me at All Around Equestria, or tweet me, and I will, with the #AAEER, for the All Around Equestria episode review. Okay. Any closing statements, Dylan?
To rip off what PewDiePie does, and quote, rip off, stay off them, bros. Brohoof.
Brohoof.
I figured.
Brohoof the microphone. Oh.
That spiked.
That sounded bad. I could even hear that in my microphone. Oh, goodness. With that, that has been All Around Equestria.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem.
I would like doing this again if ever the opportunity presented itself, but this has been a fun experience. I just got to say that.
Yes, and check us out next time. I don't know what we'll be talking about next time, but we'll be talking about something.
Something pony related.
Yeah, something pony related. See you guys later. Bye.